like to call the meeting to order. Thank you and welcome to everyone who's come for the last meeting of 2018. And at this time, I'd like to give the floor to Councillor Jake Siemens, who's got the opening today.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So with the election for City Council now behind us, and we have a new mayor in the mayor's chair, I did a little bit of a look back on city councillors as well as mayors. I was going to address the whole issue over people that have run in the past term since 1946 on council, but there's enough stories when I just look at the mayors, so I will keep it to the mayors today. There's a few things that should be noted on what has happened since 1946 with city as a council. So when the town of Steinbach separated from the RM of Hanover in 1946, from 1946 to 1971, Steinbach had a ward system for council. And there were 4 wards divided equally in the community. The community was approximately 1,200 people at that time. Up until 1975, there was a council election every single year. All the terms on city council were for 2 years with 2 seats. Alternating wards were elected every year. They were all 2-year terms, and every other year that seat was replaced. In 1961, the wards were redistributed and the 5th member of council was added. And for the first time in 30 years, there was no council election in 1976. From 1977 till 1998, council terms were 3 years, then moving to 4-year terms in the 1998 election. No mayor has ever been elected in Steinbach who has not first served as a councillor, and no mayor has ever been defeated when seeking re-election. The mayors of Steinbach were an interesting lot. Our first mayor, Mayor K.R. Barkman, became mayor in 1946 and was the mayor for 10 years till 1957. He was born in 1893 and passed away in 1979. He was acclaimed as mayor through all 6 elections, including the first one. He was born and educated in Steinbach, but in his early 20s, after being married, he moved to Foam Lake, Saskatchewan, where he was a town councillor for 18 years prior to moving back to Steinbach in 1945, and then was elected mayor, or acclaimed as mayor, at age 53 in 1946. He founded Barkman Hardware Store with his sons, which became known as Barkman Concrete and Barkman Plumbing and Heating. Mayor Leonard Barkman became mayor in 1958. He had served 7 years prior as a councillor, and when he became mayor in 1958, there was 3,200 residents of Steinbach. He defeated future mayor, A.D. Penner, in the 1958 election and was acclaimed in the next 5 elections. He was 30 years old when first elected. I believe that'd be the 2nd youngest mayor elected, and had served as town council for 7 years. He's our only mayor who was an MLA at the same time that he was mayor, serving as a sitting member of the Liberal Party in the Manitoba legislature from 1962 to 1973. He became an MLA while he was a mayor. He was also the first Mennonite in Manitoba elected to the Manitoba Assembly. Mayor A.D. Penner became mayor in 1970. There was Steinbach had a population of 5,100 people, and he served on city council for 10 years prior to being mayor for 10 years. He was instrumental in 1946 and 1947 when the town separated from the RM of Hanover. As mayor, he was contested in 2 of the 4 elections, and he lost the first election in 1958 to L.A. Barkman, but it was acclaimed in 1970. In 1997, he led the annexation movement. It was not a friendly annexation with the RM of Hanover. He was certainly our most outspoken mayor to date, and he coined the phrase, the automobile city. Mayor Helmut Pankratz took the chair in 1980. There were 6,500 people living in Steinbach at that time. He was mayor for 6 years and was claimed only in one term. In his second term, well, actually, it was 2 3-year terms, so he was acclaimed in his second term. And he also served 2 terms as councillor. He led through years of high interest rates, and today we still use the same policies enacted during those years under his leadership. And in the high interest rates, we are talking interest rates between 18 and 22%. He resigned his seat as mayor at the end of 1986 to run in the 86 Manitoba election. He gained a seat as an MLA as a conservative under the Filmon government. It was a minority government, or the opposition, I believe. And Ernie Friesen became mayor in 1986. He also was for 2 elections, and he served 2 terms as city council. There were 7,400 people living in Steinbach in 1986 when he became mayor. He was the first mayor when we began he was the mayor when we began the beautification program. And he was the first mayor with a true open door policy as we were changing the policies on the role of council at that time. He is the first mayor who was not a business owner. He was a retired school superintendent. Mayor Wes Reimer became mayor in 1992. Steinbach's population had grown to 8,200. Steinbach's only 1-term mayor. He did not run a second term, and he had served 2 terms as councillor prior. Rumor has it, and it's been verified, that he spent $0 on a campaign. He did absolutely no campaigning. His main platform was to rebuild Main Street during his term, and it happened both during his term. Mayor Les Magnuson took over in 1995. Population of Steinbach had grown after 1 term, after Mayor Reimer, to 8,400 people. Mayor Magnuson was mayor for 3 terms. It was acclaimed the last 2 terms, and prior he had served 3 terms as a councillor. Those were the beginning of the high growth rate years here in Steinbach. The indoor pool and the second arena were built while he was mayor. He was the first mayor with a non-Mennonite name. And he's the second mayor who was not a business owner, but he was retired from working in social services with the Manitoba government. Mayor Chris Gertzen became our youngest mayor at the age of 32 in 2006. And he served 3 terms, with 2 of them with acclamation. When Mayor Gertzen took over, there was 11,000 people living in Steinbach. And the high growth rate experienced in the previous terms continued. And again, he was the youngest mayor at age 32. So now we get to Mayor Earl Funk. 2018, we're just shy of 17,000 people as a population. You, sir, are the 9th mayor of Steinbach. You've served 2 terms as councillor, and you are the first mayor that has facial hair on his chin, if that makes a difference. The long history and legacy of the chair that you occupy, Mr. Mayor, is important. It's important to us to look back, to understand the role of mayor and all the achievements that council has made under the leadership of its mayor. But it's also, we need to note that over the next 4 years, we will experience a lot of change, a lot of growth, a lot of opportunities, and I look forward to serving the next 4 years with you, sir.
Thank you, Councillor Siemens. That was a very interesting opening, and we can see you've done a lot of work. Couldn't have been easy to find out all that information. If we go to number 3, to the agenda, I just wanted, councillors, if you look to 6A, the bylaw 2109, the rezoning of Hospital Street, strike that from the agenda. That will be postponed. Okay, so after these changes have been made, can I have a motion to adopt the agenda? Councillor Swagster, second by Councillor Hebert. Any comments? No. Okay, nothing further. Okay, okay, I'll call for the question. All in favor? Okay, that is carried. Number 4, we have the minutes of December 4th, the regular council meeting on page 1. Council, you've had time to review them. I need a motion to accept the minutes. Councillor Penner, second by Councillor Siemens. Any comments? No? Okay. Anything further, Councillor Siemens? No? Okay. Well, then we'll call for the question. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, need a motion to excuse Councillor Susan Penner.
Do that.
Okay, Councillor Siemens, second by Councillor Penner. Call for the question. All those in favor? Thank you. That's carried. Okay, no business. Is there any business arising from the minutes? Okay, seeing none. We will go to 6B. This is bylaw 2112, local improvement 2019-01, Elmdale Street Reconstruction. That is on page 21 of your agenda packet. I will now close the council meeting and open the public hearing. Mr. Workentine, would you please introduce this file?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of council, this bylaw 2112, proposed local improvement plan for the reconstruction of a portion of Elmdale Street, approximately 300 meters, is being introduced for the purposes of the public hearing. The overall project will see complete underground replacement of sewer and water lines, as well as the street works and drainage works. However, this local improvement applies only to the street and surface works for this related project. Recommendation from administration is that City Council proceed with this project subject to the satisfactory outcome of the public hearing. With the proposed local improvement plan that is attached in Council's agenda package, the surface works portion of the reconstruction is estimated to cost $1.05 million, of which a $700,000 funding by a debt issue is being sought. The information as far as background and other funding with respect to the project to be provided by the city's capital development reserve and the committed expenditure reserve is also listed on page 22. Recommendation is that City Council proceed with second reading to this bylaw.
Thank you, Mr. Workentine. Is there anyone here wishing to object or speak to this file? Is there anyone here wishing to object to this file? I will ask one more time. Is there anyone here wishing to object to this file? Okay, seeing none, I will close the public hearing and open the council meeting. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, just wanted to add one more thing. I neglected to say it requires first and second reading,
Okay.
not just second.
Okay, good. Okay, we'll close the public hearing and open the council meeting. Council, how would you like to approve? Okay, Council Swakstra?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will move first reading.
First, okay. Second by Councillor Siemens. Okay. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is, as is noted, this is for the reconstruction of Elmdale Street. Obviously, Elmdale is one of our older parts of the city, and we've had a long-standing emphasis on renewing our infrastructure. And as we know, it's expensive, but it's important to do. And so the total cost of the project is just over $1 million. This is specifically to so we can have the borrowing authority of $700,000 that we will have to do over a 5-year period, and then the majority of the remainder will be covered from our capital development reserve. So I think it makes sense to give this approval, so that way we can go ahead with this project.
Thank you, Councillor Swakstra. Anything further?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I think it should be noted that this is the last piece of the Elmdale Street project. That's probably was started 30 years ago when we put the street through from Elmdale to Reimer. And and over the years we've talked about the reconstruction. There was a delay for 10 or 15 years where not a whole lot happened. But the last 8 years, City Council has been working at renewing and rebuilding this whole area, and this is the last piece of that project.
Thank you. Anything in closing?
No.
Okay. Yes, Council, it's very important to keep up our infrastructure renewal. And as Councillor Siemens stated, this is the last piece of an ongoing project to renew Elmdale. And Elmdale is actually the street that the creek that we were named after used to go. That was the path the creek went. So yes, I think they're planning some really nice features for this, and I think it's something we should go for. So with that, I will call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? No, that is carried. Oh, okay, so now we'll, I need a motion for second reading, thank you. Councillor Penner, second by Councillor Hebert. No further comment? Okay, we'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay, there is no delegations. We will move to number 8, reports and recommendation of city manager, land purchase, 316 Park Road West. Mr. Workington, could you please introduce this?
Yes, this particular piece of property is found at the corner of Park Road and Keating Road on the northwest portion of the city of Steinbach. The land is currently owned by the Steinbach Community Development Corporation, just for purposes of control of the land and the fact that the city of Steinbach is in process of constructing a water treatment plant on the site. Recommendation is for City Council to approve the purchase, that the city of Steinbach purchase the land from the SCDC for the price of $1 for purposes of this transaction. That way the city of Steinbach would be able to have whole and sole control over the facility upon its completion. The sketch of the proposed site is approximately 10 acres in size. The offer to purchase is provided in the agenda package as well. Recommendation from administration is for council to approve.
Okay. Yes, council, this is pretty much a matter of housekeeping. We're looking for a motion to approve. Councillor Swagstra, second by... Okay, Councillor Swagstra moves to approve, second by Councillor Penner. Councillor Swagstra.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As is noted, this is so that the city purchases this parcel of land from the Community Development Corporation. For those who are wondering how we got such a good deal for $1, that's because the city obviously has primary control over the Community Development Corporation, and that's how we're able to get it for $1. But yes, it makes sense. If we're building, it's the water treatment plant, which will be our biggest project ever. It makes sense for the city to have full ownership and control of the land, and so this makes sense.
Okay. And anything further? Anything further from council? Anything in closing? Yes, council, this, like I said before, this is a bit of a housekeeping item, and this is, gives us carry control, and so I will just go directly to call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay, number 9, administration. 9A, accounts payable. That's in the back of the book. You've all had time to go over. Were there any questions? Motion to approve from Councillor Siemens. Seconder, Councillor Hebert. Okay, any statement? Okay, anything further? No?
Clear.
Okay, we'll call for the question. All those in favor? That is carried. 9B, financial statements from November 2018. That's also in the back. Looking for a motion to approve. Councillor Penner, second by Councillor Hebert. Okay, well, any comments? Okay. Then we will call for the question. All those in favor? That is approved. Okay, 9C, business taxation cancels. That is on page 34. There's a motion to accept.
36.
Oh, I got it. No, 34. Business taxation cancels on 34. There's a motion to approve. Do we have some? Okay, Councillor Siemens, second by Councillor Swagstra. Any comments?
That's pretty straightforward. These are all business write-offs due to business closures or business have moved and so on. So information is all there, but total of $1,917.90. It's not a great deal.
Anything further? Anything in closing? Okay, we'll call for the question. All those in favor? Okay, that is carried. 9D, building permits for November 2018. That is on page 35. There is a motion for us to approve, looking for a mover. Councillor Swagstra, second by Councillor Pinner. Any comments, Councillor Swagstra?
Just briefly, Mr. Mayor, I mean, we have to the end of November, $51 million in total building permits, and so that is obviously a strong year for the city, and we will see what the final numbers are at the end of December.
Anything further?
Mr. Mayor, just want to note that it's good to see that we're getting some more commercial space opening up on the north side of town there. It's something that we are all passionate about, and seeing more business come to Steinbach. So I'm glad to see that moving along.
Anything in closing? Okay. Yes, Council, it's 51 million is a good year, and I'm excited to see what we'll actually end off with, but it's been a very strong year, and yes, we've seen quite a few commercial applicants come through. So we'll call for the question. All those in favor? That is carried. Number 9E, business license, page 36. Motion to approve. Councillor Pinner, second by Councillor Hebert. Okay, we'll call for the question. All those in favor? That's approved. Okay, now 9F, 2019 Emergency Plan Amendments. That's on page 37. Mr. Workington, could you please introduce this file?
Yes, for members of council, the schedule that you see in the agenda package, that is an annual review that the city's emergency coordinator performs when a review of the city's emergency plan is done. Every year there is a certain number of changes and updates that he recommends that the city of Steinbach be aware of, and with this is a formal report. And administration recommends that council adopt these changes by resolution. They would then be put into the various copies of the city's emergency plan, and obviously used if there is ever an event.
Okay, council, these are changes that we have to ratify by motion. Can I have a motion to approve? Councillor Siemens, second by Councillor Hebert. Okay, any comments on that, Councillor Siemens?
I'd just like to, again, make mention over the years, we've talked about our emergency measures coordinator, Dennis Vassert, and great job that he's done over the years, and he continues to do. It shows in the attention to detail that our emergency plan has, and I want to just acknowledge that, but also I appreciate the fact that he's willing to review the details and go into that amount of detail to provide us with these amendments.
Anything further?
We concur with Councillor Siemens. Sounds like a good plan.
Okay, good. Anything in closing? Okay. Yes, no, Dennis Vassar does a great job keeping us safe, and we're very thankful to have him. Well, with that, we'll call for the question. All those in favor? Okay, that is approved. 9G, bylaw 2010, council remuneration, the third reading. That is on starts on page 38. Council, how would you like to proceed on that? Councilor Swagstra?
Third reading?
Move third reading. Councillor Siemens, second. Kate, any comments?
Nope.
Anything further? Nothing in closing? Okay, then we will, we'll just call for the question. All those in favor? That is approved. Okay, 9H, bylaw 2113, McKenzie Avenue construction. That is for first and second reading. Starts on page 42. Mr. Workington, could you please introduce this file?
Bylaw 2113 is a bylaw to approve the debt issue for a local improvement project for the reconstruction of a portion of McKenzie Avenue that was undertaken in 2018. Even though there was additional borrowing capacity approved in the amount of $500,000 due to various cost savings experienced for the project, administration has prepared a bylaw requesting council's approval of a $300,000 borrowing to be arranged with the TD Bank for this project. This particular debt issue was secured at a rate of 3.29% for a 5-year term. and was the lowest of 4 bids that were requested and submitted. Recommendation is for City Council to approve first and second reading.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Warkentine. Okay, council, we need a mover for that. Motion to approve, Councillor Penner, second by Councillor Swagstra. Any comments, Councillor?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, this is actually kind of one of the best situations for once we're taking less of a loan and not more because we came under budget. So it's nice that we're rewriting this in a positive way.
Anything further? Anything in closing? Okay, council, I'll call for the question. All those in favor? First reading, that is approved. And now we'll go into second reading. I need a mover for second reading. Councillor Siemens, second by Councillor Hebert. Any
It's pretty clear.
Yeah, okay, nothing in closing. Okay, so we'll call for the question for second reading. All those in favor? All opposed? That is approved. Okay, 9I, bylaw 2114, water supply treatment plant. That is the first and second reading also. That starts on page 46. Mr. Warkentine, could you please introduce this file?
Yes, this bylaw 2114 is also for the approval of a debenture issue with respect to a local improvement project in connection with the city's construction of a water treatment plant. Even though the project has not been completed, there has been sufficient spending and progress to date that the full amount of the authorized borrowing is being recommended for council's approval. Again, the similar bid process was used with the low rate being provided by TD Bank in the amount of 3.29% for a 5-year term, and again was the lowest of 4 bids requested and submitted. Recommendation again is for council to give this first and second reading.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Warkentine. Well, council, we do need I need a mover for this. Councillor Swagstra, second by Councillor Hebert. Go ahead, Councillor Swagstra.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is the largest project that the city has has done up to this point in terms of the total cost being over $10 million. The reason that we're only having to borrow, it's still a large debenture for the city, but the rest of the cost is being covered by grants primarily from the federal government and a little bit from the province. And so this is obviously a significant debenture, and we will pay it off over 5 years, as has been our standard policy. And so that obviously has an impact on our budget for the next few years, but it's an important project. It's important that we move ahead with this because this is necessary in order for the city to continue to grow. And I'm glad that the interest rates are still low enough that the interest we're paying on that is still quite low.
It's just good to hear that the project is progressing satisfactorily. Thank you.
Anything else? Anything further from council? Councillor Siemens.
Question through you to administration.
Okay.
Just curious, we've got a substantial grant for this. When does that grant money get paid out to the city? Upon project completion? Or is there term payments in between?
The city will submit quarterly claims to the federal and provincial government, and that is processed as progress on the project proceeds. So there is a time delay of a month or two during processing, but claims are submitted quarterly.
Anything further from council? Anything in closing? No? Okay, thank you, council. This, Councillor Swagstra was correct. This is a very important project because this will help us with future development. Within a few years, we could max out our water supply at this point, and so to grow further, we definitely need a second water supply, and this is that's why this is so important. Yeah, it's a big project, and we might say it's a year or two soon, but if we don't do this and if we do get the growth we're looking at, you know what could happen is we could just have to stop growing because we don't have the infrastructure. And that would be a horrible place to be at. And I think that's why this is so much smarter to do this than to be stuck without being able to develop. So I'll call for the question for first reading. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay, I need a motion for second reading. Okay, Councillor Hebert and Councillor Penner is the seconding. Anything further?
No further comment. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Then, anything from council? Okay, nothing in closing? Then we'll go right to the question for second reading. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay, 9J. This is file 4451-2018-8053 Bareland Condominium Resolution. It starts on page 50. Mr. Worthing, could you please introduce this file?
Yes, this subdivision file is being submitted for council, to council for resolution to approve. While it is contained on the single lot, because it is a condominium plan proposing to create 6 particular units, that requires an approval by City Council. The intended configuration of this lot is similar to the lot that you see represented just to the north or just above the red square on the screen. Recommendation from administration is council approve the subdivision.
Okay. Council, do we have a mover to approve? Okay, Councillor Swagstra will approve. Seconder. Councillor Penner. Go ahead, Councillor Swagstra.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It obviously makes sense to move ahead. This is consistent with the land use that we see in the rest of the industrial park there. As the city manager noted, the property right beside it has a similar configuration, and so this just simply allows this subdivision to take place.
Anything further, Councillor Penner?
As with my previous comments, it's great to see more commercial condominium coming up and more business to Steinbach.
Anything in closing? Okay. Okay, we'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay, 9K, we have minor variances for January to December 18. That is on page 79. I need a motion to approve. Councillor Swagstra, second by Councillor Siemens. Councillor Swagstra.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. These look pretty minor to me. I'm in favor.
Okay. Anything further, Councillor Siemens? Okay, anything further, council? Nothing in closing? Okay, we'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. 9L, minor subdivisions. We have a motion that starts on page 80. We have a motion, resolution on page 80 we need a motion for. Motion to approve by Councillor Hebert. Seconder, Councillor Penner. Any comments?
Looks like it all makes sense.
Okay, anything further?
No, sir.
Okay, anything further of council? Nothing in closing? Okay, we'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay, number 10, council question period. Okay, seeing none, we'll go to 11. Correspondence and petitions. A, the Minister of Municipal Relations. Read the Red Tape Reduction and Government Efficiency Act, page 81. Council, how would you like to proceed? Take it as information, okay? And 11B, we got the Manitoba Good Roads Association, City of Winnipeg, winner, Clarion Hotel, and Suites Shield, page 83. How would you like to proceed?
Take it as it.
Take it as information, okay? And, yes?
Was mine to send somebody to the banquet to collect it? We assigned, I think in the past we've assigned,
We've assigned someone to go?
I believe we have.
Who has gone in the past?
I believe it's Public Works Chair. Or
Public Works Chair.
Public Works or Department, sorry.
Okay. Mr. Workentine, is that usually what's happened, is the public head,
It's been a variety. I believe it may have been staff on occasion. It has also been a council member, depending on schedules.
okay?
We should certainly have someone there if we're collecting
We should. Do we have a volunteer from council that would like to go?
Okay, go. I'm off.
Okay. Well, then we will, are we okay, council, to appoint Councillor Hebert to go? Okay. And then we'll take it as information?
Look forward to hearing about the acceptance speech.
Yeah.
Keep it under 10 minutes.
Mr. Mayor, can I get Mr. Swagstra to read it, to write it for me, and I'll read it?
Okay. That's good. So we'll take that as information. Okay, number 12, other business?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was hoping, being that we are an organization, at the end of the year, generally, many organizations do a year in review. So I put pen to paper and have something here to present, if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
All right. 'Twas election year in Steinbach, and all in this chamber knew no seat was safe, so we talked to our neighbor. The stage was set early, and platforms were made. We campaigned for what felt like at least a decade. We talked of a multiplex, healthcare, and shopping while making our way through the city walking. And Troy at his desk dutifully took notes of all the councillors and all of their quotes. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, and out came the signs on the boulevard scattered. We knew, and before we all knew it, came election day, and we all hoped and prayed that we'd get our way. The moon on the crest as Deb closed the polls, we knew we were close to hitting our goals. Then, what to our wondering eyes should appear but the results of the election, and they were quite clear. We have a new mayor who's honest and true, and 3 returning councillors, for that we all knew. But amongst us here are some faces fresh, the new and the old quickly beginning to mesh. Now Hebert, now Jake, on Penner. These names give me a break. When they met with an obstacle, the 2019 budget, we knew that the public were ready to judge it. We pushed and we pulled for what we felt was right, and as the day drawn on, the end was in sight. We emerged from our meeting room feeling fatigued, knowing Darrell and Grant would be quite intrigued. Yet in our short time, much more has occurred. We've discussed laptops and wages, not all of which secured. Now I look at our mayor, who's shaking his head. And although there's more words here, I think I should end. So before I create an undoable slight, Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
Merry, you're welcome, and Merry Christmas to you, Councillor Penner. Okay. Okay, that's a hard one to follow, but number 13, I need a motion for adjournment. Councillor Swagstra, second by Councillor Hebert. All those in favor? Okay, that's approved. And our next regular council meeting will be Tuesday, January 15th, 2019 at 7:30. Thank you.